Section 63 of the Expedition of Humphry Clinker. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. The Expedition of Humphry Clinker by Tobias Smollett. Section 63. To Mrs. Mary Jones at Brambleton-hall. Dear Mary, Saunders Macaulay, the Scotchman, who pushes directly for Vales, has promised to give it to you into your own hand, and therefore I would not miss the opportunity to let you know, as I am still in the land of the living; and yet I have been on the brink of the other world since I sent you my last letter. We went by sea to another kingdom called Fife, and coming back, had like to have gone to pot in a storm. What between the fright and sickness, I thought I should have brought my heart up. Even Mr. Clinker was not his own man for 48 hours after we got ashore. It was well for some folks that we scaped drownding, for mistress was very fractious, and seemed but indifferently prepared for a change. But, thank God, she was soon put in a better frame by the private exaltations of the Reverend Mr. Macrocodile. We afterwards turned to Starling and Grasco, which are a kipple of handsome towns, and then we went to a gentleman's house at Loch Loming, which is a wonderful sea of fresh water, with a power of highlands in the midst on't. They say as how it has ne'er a bottom, and was made by a musician, and truly I believe it, for it is not in the course of nature. It has got waves without wind, fish without fins, and a floating highland. And one of them is a crutchyard where the dead are buried, and always before the person dies, a bell rings of itself to give warning. Oh, Mary, this is the land of conjuration. The bell knolled when we were there. I saw lights and heard lamentations. The gentleman, our landlord, has got another house, which he was fain to quit, on account of a mischievous ghost, that would not suffer people to lie in their beds. The fairies dwell in a hole of Caermon, a mounting hard by, and they steal away the good women that are in the straw, if so be as how there arn't a horseshoe nailed to the door. And I was shewn an old vitch, called Elspeth Ringavey, with a red petticoat, bleared eyes, and a mould of grey bristles on her sin. That she mought do me no harm, I crossed her hand with a taster, and bid her tell my fortune. And she told me such things describing Mr. Clinker to a hair. But it shall ne'er be said, that I mentioned a word of the matter. As I was troubled with fits, she advised me to bathe in the Lough, which was holy water. And so I went in the morning to a private place along with the housemaid, and we bathed in our birthday suit, after the fashion of the country. And behold, whilst we dabbled in the Lough, Sir George Coon started up with a gun. But we clapped our hands to our faces, and passed by him to the place where we had left our smocks. A civil gentleman would have turned his head another way. My comfort is, he knew not which was which, and, as the saying is, all cats in the dark are grey. Whilst we stayed at Lochlaming, he and our 2 squires went 3 or 4 days churning among the wild men of the mountings, a parcel of selvages that lie in caves among the rocks, devour young children, speak Velch, but the words are different. Our ladies would not part with Mr. Clinker, because he is so stout and so pyehouse, that he fears neither man nor devils, if so be as they don't take him by surprise. Indeed, he was once so flurried by an apparition, that he had like to have sounded. He made believe as if it had been the old Admiral, but the old Admiral could not have made his hair to stand on end, and his teeth to shatter, but he said so in prudence, that the ladies might not be afeard. Miss Liddy has been puny, and like to go into a decline. I doubt her poor art is too tinder. But the goat's fay has set her on her legs again. You knows goat's fay is mother's milk to a Velch woman. As for mistress, blessed be God, she ails nothing. Her stomach is good, and she improves in grease and godliness, but for all that, she may have infections like other people, and, I believe, she wouldn't be sorry to be called your ladyship, whenever Sir George thinks proper to ax the question. But, for my part, whatever I may see or hear, not a particle shall ever pass the lips of, Dear Molly, your loving friend, Win. Jenkins, Glasgow, September 7. remember me as usual to Sol. We are now coming home, though not the nearest road. I do suppose I shall find the kitten a fine bore at my return. Section 64. Recording by Trisha G.